Welcome to Get Serious. I'm returning to that topic about the Google Business Profile verification process, yet another update and failure to have to overcome in regard to that. And I know for some of you, it's like, yeah, Chris, why are you talking about this one so much, this particular issue? And again, first you have to just know your numbers, where your leads primarily coming in, what's your best advertising mechanism to generate business. And for us, that's been organic traffic, kind of by a long shot. Word of mouth, all that kind of plays a role into doing that. But in terms of just resources thrown at advertising, like the organic side has just worked extremely well for us, and we have an excellent foothold there. It just comes back into dealing with kind of the, quote unquote boring sides of the business. Is how do you optimize for what's working and, get an even bigger leg up on areas of the business that you already have an advantage in, and organic traffic is that area for us. To bring folks up to speed a bit, is we've been trying to get verified on Google My Business. I've mentioned this a few times over the past couple months here, and it's because our SEO consultant just keeps remarking, hey, yeah, Google's just, they're a pain to work with, but so many of the kind of SEO crawlers and both the GEO crawlers, which are the AI mechanisms, like they use Google Business Profiles as a kind of core node to build up authority for SEO and GEO purposes. Again, I don't know all the exact particulars. It's just our consultant who has, done excellent work for us and is very well informed. Just like, hey, yeah, if you guys can figure this out, great. But it's just that Google has upped their, the moat to get accepted as a Google business profile significantly. Again, I remember it used to be like a couple step process a few years ago, maybe 5 years ago. Now it's just way harder. You have to do a whole video verification process. If you're a brick and mortar, it's no problem at all here. But how many of our businesses are just online focused, or almost exclusively online? In which case, Google says, hey, you shouldn't, we don't even, allow for Google business profile. So, I have to kind of stretch the truth a bit, because technically we do have some type of clients that will show up at the office. We have notaries in here. So we have a physical location to host our business operations. But, like almost everything is online oriented. And because I run the business almost, exclusively out of my home office, in a relatively suburban neighborhood of Austin, like, it's not like there's a ton of kind of commercial activity in the area. So it would just be odd to have kind of physical advertising. It's not like, we have walk-in customers or anything. So, but that's what Google requires to get accepted here. And so the previous version, or the previous update to this story, is that when I was on another live video call with a Google rep, and they said, hey, you need permanent signage. I had like a printout on my door, which had gotten accepted a couple times prior, just on the like AI reviewed verification. But this time they were like, no, you need permanent signage. So you need like a plaque or a banner, something nailed to the door or wall of the business, or even a yard sign. And like that perked my ears up. The yard sign seems like, all right, that's the easiest thing to put up, the least permanent, and can pass the verification. So like I double checked and I confirmed, hey, like you're telling me like the yard sign is all I need to get it accepted here. And like, yep, yeah, you can do that. So we, spent the $50, got a yard sign ordered. Then we had to go through a whole nother process of putting in a ticket to Google, because they said we were out of verification attempts again. So we had to wait a longer period of time to even allow ourselves to have the opportunity to get verified once more, which is just another pain that you have to deal with. Some of these larger corporations, they have like no solid customer service. You're just stuck in line for forever, even though they said that, hey, yeah, you can jump right back on a video verification. No, that did not happen. So we just got our case, opened again today, to where it's like, okay, you can submit another, live video. So I had my whole yard sign set up, everything. and went through the call. And they had a couple of questions at the yard saying like, hey, your rep said that was fine. Here it is. And then walked up to the office, showed the workstation. But like they were kind of grilling me with questions. They were like, can you go through all of your kind of tech stack tools that you're utilizing for the business? Do you have like dedicated employee related infrastructure within uh, the improvement that you're in, really the house, like a bathroom or office space and all that? I'm like, yeah, this is the office space here. You have like a dedicated bathroom, what have you. Like I'll take clients downstairs. All of that is true. It's just, again, it kind of, stretches, uh, what might be thought of as like a, pure commercial location. And then I was just on standby and on hold for almost half an hour with the rep here. And he kept coming back. So, it's a long process. You're trying to get you verified and so forth. Like it's kind of crazy how many hoops you have to jump through just to be able to list a business on Google. Again, I know this is, I'd already failed 4 times before, so maybe it's just a higher threshold to pass. And then they came back and they were like, nope, you didn't pass again because you didn't have permanent signage. And I'm like, well, you guys keep moving the goalposts. The previous rep said a yard sign was going to work. Now you're saying it's not. Like, you need to tell me 100% clearly what does permanent signage actually mean? And they're like, okay, you need some type of plaque or sign, even a banner, nailed or fixed to the door or wall of the business. And I'm like, okay, let me clarify this even more. So and I'm kind of thinking like, what would be the simplest route to do? So if you're telling me I got a vinyl banner affixed to the door of my business, and can that be on the office door itself? Can it be indoors? And they were like, no, it needs to be outdoors, which again is another goalpost move because previous reps have told me it can be indoor on the wall of the office to enter it. And so it's like, okay, let me just keep, again, like you're talking to AI, let me go keep clarifying these questions to make sure that I have, full transcript on exactly what I need. And like, okay, is there anything else related to our verification that did not pass, or is it purely that? And like, yep, it's just the permanent signage. You got to get that up and then you will pass. And it looks like I can immediately set up another live video call, so I don't need to appeal the case again. So what I went ahead and did was send all of that info to our ops manager and was like, okay, go to AI, take all this and figure out what is the simplest route to get permanent signage for the business. But it is like a huge hassle. I don't know about huge, but it's a significant hassle to have to go through because like I live here, I'm gonna have to affix something permanent, maybe even nail into my front door and then like immediately take it down once we do get verified. So, there's going to have to be some damage repair after, for the sake of the business. If it brings us, some more deals, okay, fine. That's a worthy sacrifice, but it's still a large step that we have to go through to even get verified in the first place. So we're trying to work through that right now so we can order something else. Maybe we can even find some type of plaque that, I don't know, maybe you could do like kind of those sticky hangers on the back. That would probably be a little bit easier. You hang up, holiday decorations on or something. That's actually probably a better setup versus having to nail something in. So yeah, I'm kind of even live thinking about it right now on the podcast, just again, trying to like figure out how do I get this thing to pass. And not have to spend, again, too much money on it and then be able to take it down right away. So just wanted to mention all that again, because I have a feeling, maybe none of you guys have thought or had to go through this process here. But again, like, SEO and GEO continue to be, very significant benefits to most businesses, including ours in the land industry here. So, it's the boring stuff that makes progress. And so I just wanted to give you some tips so you can avoid, failing this test 5 times in a row like we have, and you could just nail it on your first shot without, losing 2 months of possible benefits, because we have to keep going back to the well and keep fixing the errors that we just keep making. Hopefully this one is helpful today. SeriousLand.capital for any of your funding needs. Again, $50K minimum purchase price. Just got a few big ones in today, actually. Like a $2 million deal that we're going to take a look at. in North Carolina. And Land Daily Diligence Facebook groups are a cost review of your land deals, and landpricer.ai, the most reliable land pricing tool on the market. With that in mind, take care, everybody. Subscribe and share. Bye.